This is episode 131. Welcome to Wellness in Every Season, the podcast where we explore the rich tapestry of wellness in all of its forms. I'm your host, Autumn Carter, a certified life coach turned wellness coach, as well as a certified parenting coach dedicated to empowering others to rediscover their identity in their current season of life. My goal is to help you thrive both as an individual and as a parent. Today I have with me Angela and Drew, and she is in the world of photos, photography, and there's so much that we can learn about this. If you are anything like me, you take a ton of photos, but you don't do enough with them. So we're going to talk about that. She is with Mylio Photos. We are going to have so much fun talking about this. She has an app that goes along with this, and I have been invited to check it out, and I totally forgot. So I'm excited to be introduced to this further along with you and really see what this is about and see how it can better our lives. If you are also like me, you don't print out your photos often enough. So we made the switch to having it on our TV, just kind of circle through, but it doesn't go through all of our photos. So it's still not that great of a catch-all. Tell us a bit about you and tell us about why what you offer is so great and why we need it.
My name is Angela, and I'm a fine art photographer, photography coach, and I am a product evangelist for a company called Mylio. Mylio makes a product called Mylio Photos. It's an application and a service that helps you organize your lifetime of memories. Basically, what it does is it aids you in gathering all of your pictures from all of the different sources, because today we've got pictures in the cloud, we've got pictures on our phones, we've got pictures on hard drives. You might even have pictures on memory cards or in, in prints, in boxes, photo albums in the closet. So we aid you in getting all of that stuff into one library that you can then make sure is secure and backed up, and that you can actually enjoy and get to those photos when you want them. So that's the core of Mylio Photos. As far as for me, I do landscape and cityscape travel photography. I teach people different photography workflows based usually in helping them accomplish their creative visions. So photography post-processing and digital asset management, which also ties into what Mylio does, is helping organize photos. So whether I'm working with, as a coach, usually serious amateur or professional photographers, helping them wrangle their photo libraries, or individuals and families who want to get their photo libraries in order and backed up and just know that their stuff is safe and secure, that's what I do.
How about all the duplicates that we have? I've
That
gone
is a
through and
big
I'm
one we
like,
get
there are
asked.
5 of that same photo. Shoot.
So there's a couple of different things there. So there's true duplicates, which are actual, like, exact copies of one or the other. And that often happens because maybe at this point in time you decided to try to back things up to Google Photos. And this time you did another backup to an external hard drive. And when you bring that stuff all into a single library, yeah, you end up with multiple copies of the same picture. Mylio can definitely help you clean that up. It has a photo dedupe tool that will help you get that under control very easily. The other thing that people run into are very similar photos. So if you're out taking pictures of your kids, let's say kicking the ball down the soccer field, you're going to probably have 10 to 20 pictures that are all roughly the same. You zoom in, you're going to see slight differences in facial expressions, maybe, feet touching the ground, feet not touching the ground. Some might look really cool, some might look really awkward. But you end up with these 20 pictures and you're like, you really only need to keep one, two of them. Maybe if you want to keep 4 or 5 of them, if you're real generous, but like you don't need that many. What we have in Mylio Photos is a tool called Photo Declutter, which groups together those burst mode photos. So anytime you sit there and you hold down that shutter button on your camera and it takes more than one frame, it will group those together automatically so you can go in and pick the best one or ones and get rid of the rest. Because all those ones that have awkward expressions, or maybe this one here is really great, the rest of these 5, not so much, keep the one that really matters, because you and the next generation are really only going to want to see that best one anyway. The rest of them is just clutter. So get rid of them.
I wish my husband would do that. He likes to keep all of them because you kind of see the sequence of events, and I'm like, just keep your favorite, delete the rest. I don't want to go in and clean up your photos on top of my own Let
Well,
alone
so
when my young kids get phones or cameras of their own, there's going to be even more.
when you have those sequences of like them running down the field, it creates like a little time lapse. Encourage them to take those and make them into a little time lapse movie. So then you just have the one file of the little time lapse that you can loop or whatever, and then get rid of the individual frames. Keep like the one really good one or two really good ones, then you can get rid of the rest.
I agree. Preach louder. Say it louder for him on the other side of the. He's not even in this room, but he's over that way. That that's funny. So, can you tell me what is it that you do with photography coaching?
So my photography coaching is separate from what I do for my Leo photos. This is where I work with individual photographers, typically serious amateurs, people who are really into photography or professional photographers. I go in and I help them learn how to use software. So a lot of people who are very creative are not very technically minded. Where I found a niche is like translating technical speak into everyday person speak or even language that the creative can understand to help them keep their stuff organized, have a system that works, keep things backed up so they don't lose precious photos, and then also teaching creative post-processing techniques, sharing software that I use, basically helping them solve problems that they run into as photographers.
And that is even larger scale than a family. That's their
It can be,
profession. That
yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah,
And that's really great for a family who may come back to you and say, "Hey, do you happen to have that photo?" They can easily find it, or it could be a really
exactly.
great way of, "Hey, do you remember this?" to a past client to re-excite them and get them interested again. There's a lot that can be done
Absolutely.
there.
Yeah. But if you
Yeah.
can't find the photos, or maybe that client comes back to you and says, this thing happened, I need these photos. It's an emergency. If you can't find them or you didn't back them up and they are somehow lost or damaged, like there's at the very least emotional implications there and bad bad blood for your business or potentially legal stuff. So making sure your stuff is safe and backed up and secure, especially if you have contracts with clients to preserve images, that's really important.
And then there could be, but what if you fail to have things backed up and you're supposed to be working on it and you
Oh
haven't given
yeah.
it to that client yet?
And there are accidents that can happen, but it's making sure you have a process in place where you're backing up and minimizing those risks, a big part of that workflow. So I do coach people on that. I give them workflows and techniques to keep their things as protected as possible. Like one thing that a photographer can do is a lot of professional cameras have two card slots, is to use both of those card slots because if one of those cards becomes corrupted during your shoot, let's say it's a wedding, hopefully you've got another card in there that has all of those pictures. You didn't just lose an entire wedding.
That's amazing that they do that.
Yeah, it's not on all of them. The mirrorless camera I have does not have two card slots. It only has the one, but there are many out there that do. And it's usually the higher end stuff.
Yeah, makes sense. We don't
Yeah,
use our Canon enough. It's big, bulky, and at this point, our iPhones take as good of pictures as long as we're not trying to zoom out. Ever.
exactly. The iPhones do amazing, especially if you have good light. That's really the biggest thing I found with my iPhone photos. The ones that have really good lighting in, they're incredible. I can zoom in on them. The detail is impeccable. Where they really start to fall apart though is when you're trying to shoot in low light. And I know like I'm using an iPhone 14 personally. So when I get the 16 or what comes out later this year, the 17, whatever, that's going to be that much better. But the light is what it's all about. And our iPhones take incredible pictures. And that's what most people are using these days are their smartphones. You might have pictures from your old DSLR sitting on a hard drive, but then you have the last however many years that you focused on your iPhone. That's where everything is,
Yep.
or your Android or whatever it is you're shooting with.
And I know so many people who have not backed up to the cloud and then something happens to their phone and they've lost all those pictures and they're absolutely devastated. So that's going back to personal use right
Yeah.
there.
So I read a statistic recently that I believe only 1 in 4 people is paying for additional storage for their phone. That means that most of their pictures are not protected. So there's always a small amount of storage that comes with most phones. And people think, oh, it's stored in the cloud. My stuff is safe. But yeah, if your phone gets lost and stolen and you're not paying for that storage plan or enough storage. So a lot of people don't have enough. They might pay for that base level plan that's $3 a month, but really they should be paying for the $10 a month one to get everything. It makes me so sad when somebody loses a device and they didn't have their stuff backed up.
Absolutely. I know my husband's in charge of that. He gets to do all things photo. I'm the one
Nice.
who's in the thick of it with the kids because he works an hour away. So he gets photos.
So here's a cool thing that you could do if you guys had a MyLeo Photos family plan. You guys could both have your pictures going into the same account. So you create one family library. And if he's taking most of the pictures, you can have it so you can pull up your phone and you can see all the family pictures because I'm going to guess there's a lot of pictures that he's taken that you probably have never seen.
We actually, yes, and he's fixed it after me
Oh,
complaining because I was looking for, I don't know what, but a picture with me in it for
mhm.
something. And I have none because I'm not really taking selfies while I'm in the thick of it with kids. It was when they were babies. And yeah, we had to figure out a fix for that. And it's not perfect. Sometimes it disconnects, sometimes it saves to the wrong area. There's definitely a
Yeah,
need.
I'm glad that you guys have a something in place for that because usually the one who's taking the pictures, the other person never sees those photos. Like I know my husband has pictures of me that I've never seen. He almost never shares his photos with me. So that's a problem that I see for a lot of people.
Yes. And how many moms are in pictures? And sometimes it can be a good thing that you don't see the pictures because how many of us tear ourselves apart because we don't like the way we look? And then 20 years from now, we're going to look back and be like, what was I thinking? I looked good then.
Hmm? Okay, yeah, your hair was a mess and you had spit up on your shirt, but who cares because that moment's gone forever and the only way it's preserved is in that photo.
And you're still
And
glowing. And besides with sweat
exactly.
and everything else, like the emotional glow and you can see the love pouring into this creature that you created and that you are
Exactly.
raising and loving. Okay, let's switch over to fine art photographer. So you do cityscapes. Tell me more about that. How does that work out?
Typically, I just go out and take pictures of whatever is around me as I'm going through daily life. Or it could be architectural details, or it could be while I'm traveling and exploring a new place and just taking in the sights of wherever I'm at.
So
So,
tell me your favorite one.
oh, my favorite one, gosh, I think my favorite cityscape photo that I have, it's an old one. I took it in San Francisco over 10 years ago, maybe more. And I was crossing the street in front of the ferry building, and here comes this trolley. And it was this red trolley, and it just looked cool. And I could see the ferry building in the background. And here's this red trolley. And I took my camera and I shot from the hip. Like I didn't even have time to put it up to my face. I was walking, traffic was coming, and I shot from the hip. And I caught this shot and then I processed it. I did it in black and white, and then I did a selective color, which was very popular at the time, and brought the red color of the trolley, and everything else is black and white. And that's still probably one of my favorite cityscape shots.
My aunt, she's since passed away, but she loved taking photos like that. And she had one with the trolley in San Francisco. Different background, different
Yeah.
direction.
And everyone gets the cable cars in San Francisco, but these are the trolleys that run along the waterfront. So these ones are a little different.
Car.
Yeah. The cable cars are super cool too. Don't get me wrong. I love those shots too. But this one was like an enclosed trolley and an old restored trolley car. It's a neat shot. It's one of my favorites.
Well, San Francisco is still on my bucket list.
You've never been to San Francisco? Oh, you have to. It's an excellent city.
Been in other areas. Santa Barbara is my favorite of all of
Hard,
them.
hard to beat Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
I grew up on the central coast of California, about an hour north of Santa Barbara, hour and a half maybe.
So, did you still have tar on the beaches or no?
You mean like they have the dark spots that
My aunt and uncle lived in Carpinteria, but so I remember getting tar stuck on my feet, and you could see the ships that were right there that were mining tar.
I don't know if that's still an issue, but now that you say that, I do remember that as a kid. Wipe your feet off, and sometimes you had black stuff on your. I never even thought about it.
It was our first time visiting. We went on the beach. We stopped on the way to the house to visit the ocean. and it stuck to my feet and I could not get it off. And my uncle quickly took care of it. I don't know what he used, maybe rubbing alcohol. I don't even know. He
Yeah,
was like, "Here,
something
I
like
got
that.
you." Quickly cleaned it off, but I was like picking at it on the drive to their house. As you could tell, I was little.
And it's those little things stick with you though. It's like I didn't even register. It was just like part of like a normal, okay, you might end up with some black stuff on your feet if you sniff at stuff.
Yeah. So how did you end up working with Milo? It sounds like you had your own business, your own things that you were doing. How did you end up here?
So it's an organic flow through my journey as a creative. So I was doing my own thing and I had a call from a friend who worked at a different photography software company. This was several years ago. Hey, can you help us out with this? And I ended up working with them and it grew into more and more work. I worked with them for several years. And then it evolved to where I learned of my Leo photos. There was an opportunity to move up to try different things, and I took this position. So it was really started from doing my own thing, having my own presence and my own education that I was doing for photographers that I got pulled into working with photography software companies and ended up where I'm at.
Wow.
And I still have my little side hustle. I still do stuff on the side and I still coach. I still have my core clients that I love, and I will do my best to always accommodate them and make sure that they get what they need.
I think that's the way that it works with creatives is you don't have this line that you follow.
I'm not happy if I'm stuck doing the same thing all the time. Even in my position with Mylio, I have my fingers in a lot of different stuff. So with product evangelism, my job is to help people be successful with the software. And that goes from, I do everything from write the manual. I do live streams for them 3 times a week, live Q&As and tutorials. I've done video courses. I work with our product team to make sure feedback from the customers is getting back to the product team so they know what to focus on, what needs to be fixed, what can be better. I work hand in hand with our support team. So people need help. I funnel them to the right resources. And then I do stuff like this. So I'm helping out marketing as well. I'm really all over the place.
It sounds.
But
Would you like to give us a demonstration?
I certainly can. Certainly can.
Yeah. Here, I can pause it.
All right. So a little peek behind the scenes here. This is my Mylio Photos library. What you're seeing here is everything that's coming off my cell phone. You can see some screenshots here and my fine art pictures, which are back over here. If I scroll quite a ways, so I can grab this little flag here at the top. Right now I'm in what's called the all photos view. So it's literally everything. I can go back years and years. And I even have family history pictures in here, scans and stuff, my relatives that I've brought into my library. So this library spans back, actually, I can show it a little bit better by going to the calendar view. So when you bring things into Mylio, it reads the metadata or the information that's already in your pictures. So it uses that to display your pictures in a more organized fashion. So even if things are in a jumble of different folders, you can come into these views like the calendar view and it automatically puts everything onto a calendar for you. So scrolling back here, this is my life in pictures. And I can go back here to where, okay, now I'm back into scanned pictures that I took from my photo albums as a kid. I can go back even a little bit further to now before I was born. Here's my parents' wedding. And I have pictures all the way back here into the early 1900s. So this is a place for me to bring everything that I have and be able to enjoy it. The cool thing about this is I can have this app on my tablet and on my phone as well. And these devices talk directly to each other. So you can have things in the cloud if you want to, or you can have your devices talk directly to each other. So it's very privacy centric. Nothing is locked behind any kind of paywall. This is a direct connection to my hard drive. If I right click on this and say show in folder, I can right click on this and say reveal in Finder, and that's going to show it to me in my file system. So nothing is behind a locked package. You own all your pictures. Nothing is stuck in Mylio. So this is just pointing to where it lives on my computer. So we've got that calendar view that's really super cool. We have a map view. So this is great, especially for pictures that are coming off of your cell phone, because those typically have the metadata and the GPS information already built in there. You can add that to pictures that don't have it, but for the stuff that already does, it populates here on the map. So you can take this and go, okay, where have I been? Where do I need to go? And then you can also add information to pictures that don't have it. Like I've never been to Detroit, Michigan, but my grandparents had. So I've added that information to these pictures and I can get to anything based on where it happened. So calendar for if you remember things based on when they happened, that's a great place to go. If you like to find things based on where they happened, this is an awesome option. And then My Leo Photos also has incredible facial recognition. So what happens when you bring pictures into Mylio is it's looking for recognizable faces. And then you have the opportunity to tag them. Once you've tagged somebody 5 to 10 times, it starts to recognize their face and will automatically group together similar faces. And once you've confirmed those, they show up in these collections. You very easily find pictures of people in my library. So if I want to go back and I want to find all of the pictures of my grandma here, I can click on that and that's going to go in and pull all of the pictures I have of her. And right now it's zoomed in on her face. I'm just seeing her face in the picture. I can switch that view, turn off zoom to face, and then I can see the picture in its full context. So I have all of these pictures and I can go to pictures of her anytime or anybody else in my library. So with My Leo Photos, a lot of people think, okay, I have to organize my pictures. It's this big project, and it can be. But the core is getting everything into one place. And then you have these 3 views, which I like to call kind of auto organization because it uses the information that's already in your pictures to help you find things easier. If you want to build out albums for specific things, you can do those. These are manual creations. So you make them for whatever grouping that you like. And they're virtual, so it doesn't duplicate anything. It doesn't physically move anything on your hard drive, but it lets you group things together in ways that make sense to you. So whether you want to make a slideshow, like I did a slideshow here from when my husband retired from the military, or some large vintage prints that I restored, bathroom and refinish projects, or anything else that you need to group together for different purposes. And then you also have the option, of course, to browse everything by folder. So these are the actual physical folders that live on my computer. It's just a more visual way to browse them. And there's a ton of different stuff here in Mylio, but that gives you an overview of what the interface looks like and what it can do. I find it to be a tremendous help in my life because no matter where I'm at, I can pull up my phone, my tablet, I can get to my pictures, I can share them, and I can enjoy them.
If you are listening to the audio, I recommend going to YouTube so you can actually see this and you can get a really good glimpse of how great of a photographer she is. The graffiti skate park was really cool. And you had some amazing landscape photos when you were scrolling down. It was fun to see.
Yeah, so this was the Lake Dolores Water Park. It's about 2.5 hours maybe outside of Las Vegas.
Oh, it's a water park. Wow.
It was.
Yeah, at one time.
It's not so much anymore, but it's actually remarkably easy to go wander around. Got to be careful because it is an abandoned place, but it's right off of the Interstate 15. And you can just go walk in there and look around and take pictures. And yeah, the place is absolutely covered with graffiti, lots of cool stuff. And I love just exploring.
So how easily can you share these with other people? Is that like via email? Can you do it through text pretty easily?
Yeah, so if I want to go ahead and share this picture, or if I'm back here in the grid and I want to share, let's say, grab a bunch of these and share all of those, I can click the little share icon here. I can export a copy to my desktop. I can copy it straight to the system clipboard, so I can then copy and paste it into webmail or social media post or a blog post or whatever. I can email them, send them as text messages. I can airdrop, print. And then this Get Shareable link, this is part of our shared album infrastructure. So you can either create an album and curate it yourself or on the fly, grab some images and Get Shareable link. You can change the name and publish an actual web link with those images.
Oh,
So
that's
I can go
cool.
ahead and do this and it's going to just upload and create a URL that I can then share with whoever I want. They don't have to have the Mylio app to view them. They just go to a web page and it's what we call semi-private because it's not indexed by search engines. So it's not going to just get out there and be widely disseminated, but it is a web link. So however you share it is how it's going to be disseminated. So if I go ahead and click on, that's going to go ahead and load up this link. And I could do a lot more with this to fancy it up, but this is basically what it looks like. And then anybody that I share this link with can come in here and see really good quality images. And if you're sharing family photos, you can even enable downloads so they can download copies of those pictures.
That's really nice. I know back in the day when you tried to do that, the other person on the receiving end then needed to sign up and get a trial version and blah, blah, blah. Obviously not
Yep.
of this program, but of other ones. So I really like that. That's smart.
It's really nice. So you can, yeah, nobody has to download anything. There's no signups required. It's just a URL where they can go and look at your pictures.
Just seeing, okay, they must have had a water slide there at one time and there's
Yeah, there were a
just
bunch here. So there's one
crazy.
here, then this was like a lazy river kind of
A
deal.
small one.
And then there's a big lazy river that goes around the entire perimeter of the park. And then there were big water slides up here on the hill. And this landing up here, there
Was a
was
big
another water
one.
slide up
Yeah,
there. But
that's
yeah,
crazy.
it's
We have some like that back in my hometown. And I
cool.
guess they went bankrupt or something, which is shocking because they were always crazy busy, especially in Arizona. We needed it to survive. And they closed it down.
Right.
And then they
Yeah.
moved the water slides to another park, and then that park ended up closing down too. So they're just there. They ended up
I think
taking the
it's
slides down because it was a safety issue after.
exact. This particular park did have some sort of tragic event and legal troubles ensued. And that was, I think, what led to this park's demise.
Maybe that's what happened to mine too. I was too young in elementary school, like lower end of elementary school. So who knows? I could Google at some point,
Yeah.
maybe, if I even remember the name. There was
Yeah,
one
this
other
is cool.
question that I had regarding this. I
Sure.
cannot remember. We will have in the description the link to this if you are interested. You said, oh, here's my question. Is there anybody who would put this together for us? I'm sure a
Yes.
service is there has to be someone on your team that does that service.
Yeah, so when you sign up for MyLeo Photos, at a very minimum, you're going to get a one-on-one session with one of our experts to help you get started. So if you're a DIYer, you'll still have that one-on-one session and then you can take off and run. You can also buy additional sessions, or we have a partnership with an organization called the Photo Managers, and we have people who are MyLeo certified with them. So these folks are professional photo organizers who take images. Some of them do scanning and digitization. Some of them work with just digital. Depending on your needs, we can connect you with one of these people, and then you would form a relationship with them to accomplish your project.
That's really nice because there are so many people at this point. We live in a digital age, and then we inherit the photo boxes, the dreaded photo boxes.
Yes,
And
that's
some
so
of them
true.
are slides. So it would be great for us to then take those and just here, somebody else deal with it for me. Thanks. And
Yep.
then maybe you have them, you haven't dealt with them, and you need a photo because somebody else in the family is asking you for it. So it would just be great to be able to hear somebody else do it and take my money for it
Yep.
and make this pretty for me and
There
make
are
me look
people who do that.
perfect. This was great. Is there anything else that you want to share with us as we close out?
I think my last parting thought that I'd like to share is don't let all your photos be like keep your eggs all in one basket. Make sure you have a backup. You have more than one copy of your stuff. So if you have everything in the cloud, do what you can to get a local copy as well. Have an offsite copy like the cloud as well. But try to have both because stuff happens. That offsite copy is your disaster recovery, but your local copy is in case there's some sort of data attack on that service, you want to make sure that you're protected either way. So being able to maintain the backups, make sure your stuff is protected and safe, that's probably one of the biggest takeaways that I'd love people to have from this. Myleo can help them do that.
I will be sharing this episode with my husband.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for being on, and thank you, listeners, for listening through. I hope you guys, if you were listening, that you caught the YouTube channel so that you could see her overview. It was really great to see her walk through it on her desktop and show us how it works. And especially somebody who has written the manual. She better know what she's talking about, right? Wink, wink. I've
One would
written
hope.
many a manual in my day, so I totally understand. And this is really important. This does hit different dimensions of wellness. The top one that I can think of is social, because you can strengthen so many relationships by sharing photos. I know as I've gone through and cleaned out my photo box from high school, photos that I took of other people that I'm not in and I'm not really connected with them. I've reconnected with them through social media, found their address, and mailed it to them. And it's reignited this relationship with them. And it's been really fun. So there's that aspect of it. And doing that with your family members, you can strengthen social connections through this. And there is a lot of emotional. You were sharing photos of your grandmother, and it was very obvious that you had your mother, sorry. No, your
That was
grandmother.
my
And then I
grandma.
did see your mother in there too. And there's a similarity in facial features. I was like, hold on. But I know that there was a close relationship there. And just being able to see those photos and relive those memories strengthens your emotional health. So there is a lot here. It can definitely cover spiritual, it can cover psychological. There's a lot here. So I hope that you really take the time to think about what are you doing with your photos and what do you want them to do for you. So thank you for this.
Thanks for having me. This is a great conversation, and hopefully it's helpful for people.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. I am your host, Autumn Carter, a certified life coach dedicated to empowering individuals to rediscover their identity, find balance amidst chaos, strengthen relationships, and pursue their dreams. My goal is to help people thrive in every aspect of their lives. I hope today's discussion inspired you and offered valuable insights. Stay engaged with our wellness community by signing up for my newsletter at wellnessinEverySeason.com/free resources. When you join, you'll have the option to receive a 5-day guide called Awaken and Unwind. 5 days to mastering your mornings and evenings, along with free guides, special offers on my programs, practical tips, personal stories, and much more, all related to wellness, by signing up for both offers on the page. Don't miss out on these valuable resources designed to help you thrive in every area of wellness. Join today and start your journey to wellness in every season. Your shares, subscriptions, and reviews help us reach more people seeking empowerment. So please spread the word about our podcast and about our newsletter. Thank you for being a part of our podcast community. I look forward to continuing our conversation, sharing stories, and exploring wellness in all of its aspects. Take care until our next episode. You can also work with me one-on-one or on demand through one of my programs by visiting wellnessinEverySeason.com/programs. One last thing to cover the show legally, I am a certified life coach giving general advice. So think of this more as a self-help book. This podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. I am not a licensed therapist, so this podcast shouldn't be taken as a replacement for professional guidance from a doctor or therapist. If you want personal one-on-one coaching from a certified life and parenting coach, go to my website, wellnessinEverySeason.com. That's where you can get personalized coaching from me for you. See you in next week's episode.